After a family tragedy leaves her orphan, 10-year-old Mary Lennox is taken from the mansion in India and sent to live in a forbidding mansion in the Yorkshire moors under the care of Lord Craven, a hunchback widower uncle that she has never met. Mary begins snooping about the place and eventually comes across Colin, who is Craven's young son and who has been confined to his bedroom and convinced that he is too ill to do anything but stay in bed. Outside the house, Mary finds a garden seemingly hidden away from the world. The garden seems to have magical healing properties, and Mary contrives to help Colin break the psychological hold that his overprotective father has and take him to the garden so that he can be rejuvenated, both physically and emotionally as well. This adaptation takes great liberties with the storytelling, converting Craven's wife's accidental death into malingering illness and making the titular garden a literally magical place where plants bloom and wither in the blink of an eye. As those familiar with the story will note, the movie adds a number of new elements to the material, but in pretty much every case, these additions prove to be largely useless. The gardens are lush and inviting, more mystical wonderland than the manicured English garden, but they rely too heavily on CGI instead of actual natural wonder to convey their secrets. The best part of this movie is Colin Firth, who plays Craven, but unfortunately he's barely in it. It's all very gloomy and chill, at least on the surface. The film never quite embodies eeriness and merely signposted, which feels wrong in any event. Everyone here is haunted by grief, but the gothic spookiness that soaks the proceedings is ill-judged. The Secret Garden is a tale about grief, a catalog of how it twists and wounds us, and how with the right tending and care, we can bloom back to vibrant life. But this adaptation leans heavily on cliches the story doesn't need. The garden is not figuratively magic, it's literally so, with the power to heal dogs and Colin. This robs the storytelling of its power by chalking Mary and Colin's growth up to some unseen spectral force guided by spirits. The novel's power lies in Mary and Colin's affection for each other, how they bloom under their mutual care. The film doubles down on these choices by adding an unnecessarily fiery climax into the film, seeking to inject some dramatic action where none is actually required. This movie also jettisons much of the original ending of the book for a new climax involving the house burning down that replaces the real emotions of the original text. Ironically, the result is to turn a genuinely moving tale into one that is profoundly dull. The original source has always found its beauty in its calmness, a small story of hearts broken and healed through nature, attentive care, and through connection. But this adaptation doesn't understand that, instead drowning the film in showy set pieces and magical realism rather than understanding the inherent magic in all things. All of these so-called improvements to the story feels false and hollow. When a moment of real magic finally arrives, it is odd and out of place. Overall, this adaptation is a total disappointment.